happened, Joe? Joe, you looked me in my face and told me this show was none of my business.
Yeah,
That's what you told me.
I was there.
That's not crazy to you? Is that not crazy to you? If you
Thank you for tuning in to the Rap Palette with another news update. We're talking about the end of the era. The JBP boys. Finished. Done. Over with. Can't mix business and friendship. We're talking about blood money, if you want to call it that. So recently in recent events, we're sad to say there's been some leaked audio, which I would not play. I'm not going to hit with no copyright strike. Where Joe Budden breaks down the whole fundamentals of what happened between him and Rory and him getting fired. A lot of people might feel different about this, and people might say, hey, it is what it is. But we, the people, have a different perception of it. You know what I'm saying? Fans, me, myself, who've been a follower of the Joe Budden podcast since its inception when Marissa was there and she was fired. Now, I'm going to read you some insert, you know what I'm saying? And I want you to tell me what this is. This might be a long video, but I'm going to try to be quick. So there's two. First off, early Wednesday morning seems to read, I don't even understand that word. The Joe Budden podcast took a steep nosedive as audio from the show's 437 episode hit the internet. It featured Joe Budden ripping their co-hosts Rory and Mal to stretch earlier this year. The longtime JPB co-host noticeably vanished from the podcast, prompting Joe Budden to address the rumors that they had left permanently and offered an insight into the tension that had recently been growing between him and Rory. Following Rory, a full month of Mal and Rory absence and their continuous appearance of their villains, Ice and Ish, is the JBP seems to finally be back in order when Rory and Mal return to the podcast on episode 435, Shaking Up the Tree. Although the episode featured one of the most awkward conversations from the trio in a long time, fans were still hopeful that Rory and Mal would move on from all this drama that has plagued them throughout 2021. Now, today, however, that took a dark turn as the mentioned audio from the Joe Budden call. It's on Twitter. You can go, what's this dude's name? Snoop Doge, doing everything good every day. And it says, has taken a Twitter filled with antics where the co-hosts remain quiet on the matter with Rory, nothing, and Mal simply tweeting, "Good morning." It says, no time to stop, but giving a thought the millions of podcast people will survive. Over the course, fans showed, as well as Twitter, and are shocked the new development as they wait for more information regarding the Joe podcast, checking out some of the best tweet reactions. So, it's a lot of this stuff on here, but let me read you how he responded, because I'm going to give my commentary about this, you know what I mean? I'm going to tell you how I feel as a man, you know, about this whole situation. After the chaos reigned on social media, Joe Budden alluded to sabotage following Rory's firing from the Joe Budden podcast. Fans of the Joe Budden podcast are currently in the midst of mourning the end of an era. 2 weeks removed from Rory and Mal's return to the podcast after a self-imposed hiatus, leaked audio from the 437 episode marks the proverbial nail in the coffin for the long time running and beloved series. Very beloved series. We're talking about the clips they just mesh well together. It says, since Rory feels like he has many options here, somehow he feels like he's running the show, states in an incest Joe, and he feels like he's entitled to more. Rory, you are in breach of your contract, and at this point forward, you are fired and you're not welcome back. In subsequent tweets, Budden confirmed that he would no longer be working with Rory and has since offered further clarification on his position. Friend or not, I'm never funding someone sabotages me. That will never happen, writes Joe, alluding to something deeper behind the scene. I get far away from the threat. You can think peace until your face turn blue. A fair prediction, as many Blueface fans are currently in the midst of trying to unpack the internet turmoil that brought the Joe Budden podcast to an unceremonious end. Some have invoked academics with the prediction Joe will quickly be mobilizing to reunite with his longtime everyday struggle co-host, who happens to engage in disrespectful feud between Rory and Mal. Others have drawn comparison to the old Budden classic, Three Sides to a Story. Nothing the situation are solemnly clear to be appear. Depending on who's asked, Joe has been done himself a favor by cutting ties with the negative associates and doomed himself to a similar fashion to Alonso from Training Day. It's a testament to a passion that the JBP has elicited in the fan base. It shows interest. I'm not going to read all of this. But first, let me tell you this. I didn't have nothing wrong. I didn't disagree with Joe said on there if in the beginning it was laid out saying that, hey, y'all just work for me. I don't have no problem with it. And if Rory was trying to get more, knowing that you know what your position is, that's different. Now, here's the funny thing is, when you tell somebody that you helped build something or you helped build this product or you was the reason there, because I remember Rory been there since the first episode. So he has a lot more sweat equity. I didn't see nothing wrong with him wanting to know what the Spotify deal was, what this deal was, what that deal was. It just makes sense to me. But the thing is the hypocrisy that comes behind this. Joe Budden talks about Lil Yachty's contract, Megan Thee Stallion contract, and everybody else's contract, but his contracts are not available for a team of people he said he called family. That's where the issue comes. Don't call me family and say I can't know anything. And you said you overpaid him. How are you going to overpay somebody who helped you build something? That does not make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys been with you since the day. Yeah, people came and seen you, but you think it would be different if it was just you by yourself? No, it wouldn't have been that. Everything has a component to it. This is why I say that it's disgusting to see this play out online. I'm just being honest with you. This just shows that you can't do business with Joe Budden and the Joe Budden podcast or the Joe Budden network. And I'm just speaking from my opinion. What I see you do to your homies, let me know what you'll do to me. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? Because I have a podcast. I have businesses. And the guys who help me run it or open it up, I give them a half a piece of everything. Their names as part owners on it. They understand the stipulation of it. I'm not going to do that to my homie. You helping me build something from the ground up. And then I say, you know what I mean? You're entitled. Hire somebody who's entitled when he's been there since day one. That's kind of confusing. People, you have to use your thinking skills and common sense. He's calling somebody entitled when they've been there since day one. You called it the Joe Budden podcast with Rory and Maul. To my perception, I would think that everybody owns a piece of something, but I guess I'm wrong. That's why when they say money is evil, no, money is not evil. The people who wields money is evil. You talk about being rich. You talk about everybody's this. And mind you, I would look at you some kind of way if you still talking to my ops. Yeah, Rory had a fact about that. And Maul had, Maul said that, hey, because you're driven by money. You don't care about nobody else but money. I mean, no disrespect, but let's think about it. You show us your hand. These DJ Academics been on a tirade talking about these boys for the last year or so, stating that Rory is going to send a bunch of people to somebody's house. No, that white boy ain't do that. I don't even think he has enough thug in him to send some gangsters over his house. DJ Academics was into it with so many people. You don't know where that came from. But you say that wouldn't have been a good move. This is why I say you're so hypocritical. And it's sad to see you like that because, man, it's sad to see you fall from grace because I looked up to you as a man, as somebody who got his homies and made them eat. But I guess I was wrong. You know what I mean? False prophets.